Toyota went 8 years without touching their Tacoma model, and finally we have their brand new one. The 4th generation Tacoma was originally introduced in 2024, and here we have a 2025 Toyota Tacoma SR. This is the absolute base model, and MSRP on this is $39,000. That is with this dealer specific markup. If you go onto the website, you'll see the MSRP for the SR at $31,000, and it only goes up from there. The Tacoma has so many trim levels. You have the SR5, the TRD Pre-Runner, the TRD Sport, TRD Off-Road, Limited I-Force Max, Trail Hunter, and the cream of the crop, the TRD Pro. If you really deck this thing out, this truck could be an $80,000, $90,000 truck. There's no question that the new Tacoma is more expensive than what a typical Tacoma buyer is used to paying. Not a surprise in today's world where everything is super expensive. And Toyota has to make their money somehow by building this all-new truck from ground up. The overall proportions of this new Tacoma is largely the same as its predecessor. The wheelbase is longer though, and the bed is slightly longer as well. The front end on the new Tacoma is definitely bolder and more aggressive than the prior generation. Same thing with the tailgate, rectangular with sharp edges. The bad thing about this front end is this plastic guard, which does not need to exist. There's so much room here, and the wheel well just gives you an indication of its off-roading capabilities. This is where the TRD Pro would really shine. But make no mistake, the Tacoma is a truck that's built for the trails. And even though this is a base Tacoma, I'm pretty sure that it can handle big boulders just fine. Besides, if you really want to do some extreme off-roading, just get the Trail Hunter or the TRD Pro. Under the hood, you have a 2.4 liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine, 228 horsepower, 243 pound-feet of torque. The most powerful version will get you 326 horsepower, 465 pound-feet of torque. That's a hybrid. That's definitely a controversial move by Toyota to introduce turbocharged 4-cylinder engines, replacing their ultra-reliable V6s. If you need more power, avoid getting the base SR model, opt for a higher level trim. Inside the new Tacoma, a surprise awaits, but not of the best kind. At first glance, it doesn't look bad, perfectly reasonable for a brand new Toyota truck. Look closely and you're gonna see gobs and gobs of plastic. So much plastic that you're gonna dream of plastic when you go to bed at night. Toyota's always had a lot of plastic in their cars, but this is insane. Especially when you touch it and tap it, you can hear and feel the cheapness. In a base model, that plastic might not be so bad, but can you imagine in a Trail Hunter TRD Pro, an $80,000 truck where you have to deal with that much plastic? And what's worse is in the base SR model, you have all these empty switches. It really takes a terrible thing and makes it much worse. That's really a shame because the interior truly is nice and the driving position, seats are all very comfortable. Fully digital gauges on the dash, a big digital display, although the touchscreen is slightly laggy. That's a disappointment because in the year 2025, every car company should have solved the interior tech. In the age of AI where ChatGPT can do your dishes, surely Toyota can make an interface that's completely smooth. I also don't know why they don't have the actual temperature in degrees instead of bars. By the way, these switches are also plastic. If you get the base Tacoma SR model, all of this is easy to overlook because you're paying between $30,000 and $40,000. But imagine getting a Trail Hunter or TRD Pro and having to live with all this. You have plenty of cup holders and lots of storage areas. A space above the glove box, center console, in the door. I should warn you that there is a problem in this truck that will affect 0.0000001% of the population. And that is, if you have a water bottle with the rubber sleeve at the bottom, it's almost impossible to shove this into the cup holder because of these plastic adjusters that stick out and don't want to go down. But after some time and effort, it actually fits. This is a horrible design. Instead of actually having a handle, it's just a piece of plastic. In the back, you have zero legroom, only good for kids. The backseat area is so plain, there's not much going on here at all. If you buy this truck, get the two-door version because no one's gonna wanna be back here. I do like the steering wheel though, looks and feels nice. Make sure you have bottles only in the cup holder though. No cups allowed. There's a secret compartment here that nobody knows exists. Perfect for hiding something you don't want anybody to find out. There's a convenient switch here to light up the truck bed area. The turning radius on the Tacoma is so good. You can make super tight turns in this thing. The rear view camera is a good size display, plenty big enough for this Tacoma. This is a mid-size truck, so it's not huge, but it is practical enough with a good sized bed. You have a tow hook here, although I don't know what you can pull with 243 pound-feet of torque. Recommend upgrading to a more powerful engine version. If you do end up getting this new Tacoma, avoid getting a black on black interior trim. It's just too much black. The plastic might be a bit more bearable if the colors were different. If you do end up having a nightmare of all this black plastic everywhere, you will be able to recover when you start driving the Tacoma. The ride really is good, and it's quiet, and the seats are great. So this all-new Tacoma is great to drive around, whether it's on regular city streets or highways. You definitely need more power than what the base model has, so I would recommend going for a stronger engine, but then also remember they start to get pretty expensive. But you don't need a huge amount of power because a Tacoma isn't all that big. It's a shame that regular sized adults can't fit in the back seats because they would really enjoy riding around in this Tacoma. Since this truck is brand new, of course everything is tightly fit, there's no rattles, super quiet. But I do wonder what will happen over time. With all this plastic, is it gonna get really loose and start rattling all over the place? And that's really the big question with the Tacoma is, will it last? There's already been recalls and issues with the 8-speed transmission, so Toyota probably needs a few years to work through all this. The 2025 might not be the most reliable model ever, but the 2035 will be out of this world. I like driving around in this 2025 Tacoma though. It's solid, it's well built, it's safe, it's got Tacoma written all over it. Literally, Toyota reminds you that it's a Tacoma all over the truck. It's here, it's here, it's here, it's everywhere. This is not a fast truck by any means, but you hear the turbo noises, the whooshing sounds, so at least it sounds like one. If you can ignore all the plastic, this actually is a pretty good truck. It looks good, it's comfortable, it's practical. The base model might be reasonably priced, but as soon as you upgrade in trim levels, the price skyrockets. And if you're gonna pay $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, you might as well get the Ford Ranger Raptor. And that's really the problem with the Tacoma, is that this segment is highly competitive. There's so many other trucks to choose from. And so the Tacoma is just another one of those trucks. Good, but nothing to make it stand out.